In 2017, Olena Shevchenko co-founded the Kyiv-based nonprofit Insight to support women and LGBTQI communities. She's since become one of the most recognizable advocates in Ukraine, and she's no stranger to hostility. Before the war, her initiatives were often met with resistance. Nowadays, she finds getting people to understand is even more complicated. We spoke to her from Kyiv, where Russian attacks have led to widespread power outages and scattered internet access.
You have some rights, some protection, but in terms of the violence, especially from ultra-radical groups, that was not so possible to hold hands on public, to go together to the restaurants, for instance, or even to go to the metro. Because if you are obvious, if people can assume that you are from LGBTQI community, you never know what will happen afterwards and who will protect you. We thought that in few years we will achieve at least civil partnership law in Ukraine. So that will be the sign to our society that it is forbidden to even think that LGBTQI people are kind of sick, perverts, abnormal, and everything like that. But then the war started, of course, and honestly, I think that's at least few steps back for us in terms of the human rights in our country.
Several communities have become especially vulnerable during the war. LGBTQI people face fierce discrimination from fellow Ukrainians. Most humanitarian aid doesn't account for those with disabilities, and reports of sexual assault have been staggering. Now, Shevchenko and her colleagues have pivoted their efforts to fundraising for humanitarian aid, everything from emergency kits to hormones for transgender people. She's also working tirelessly to combat gender stereotypes during the conflict.
The level of domestic violence, sexual violence during the war, you can imagine. This is awful, seriously. Another bad thing also, which came with the war, these gender stereotypes about role of women. It's a daily fight in each sphere. Then you need to remind people that women are not those people who need, to mostly give birth to the new soldiers. We have so many women now who are in the military forces. We need to highlight those women who are serving the military, who are doing volunteer work, who are doing everything else, like except home affairs, just to give this visibility. Even the state policies, like they started from the first day of the war saying, oh, our brothers, other husbands are on their front line trying to protect our country, our nation. And then it took us 6 or 7 months just to put there also, like, not just brothers, not just husbands, but also our mothers, our sisters. And it's not only about men. Many conservative groups in Ukraine who are still here, of course, who are fighting with LGBTQI people all the time, even during the war, and against gender equality as well, of course, they are still active. So they share information that all LGBTQI people left Ukraine because they received international grants, the support of those international organizations. So they are not protecting the country here, not helping here in Ukraine. So our main idea also and main aim is to show that so many LGBTQI casual people are very active here on the different front lines, not only as a military, protecting Ukraine on the front line, but also in other spheres. That's why we are doing many informational campaigns, trying to highlight the importance to be in different spheres of life, to be present and to be here. And this is also a huge reason to continue this fight, despite of all those violence and attacks.